the winner of that battle gets to go to Miami in December. And I think Mighty Paul was the winner last year, right? Yeah. PJ? Yep. Yep.
Come back and defend.
Yep, so come back and defend it. Yeah, it's June 24th. IQ's the DJ. We're gonna have some fun with that, and you know, it's been a blessing. I love Georgia, and we're here to stay. We're lifers here. So thank you guys, ATL. We're having a great time with all of you.
Crumbs. What's up, guys? My name is Crumbs. If I haven't met you before, I'm an original member of Style Elements Crew. We're a crew based out of California. I'm a 90s b-boy, so that is my era. It was for some of us, the golden age of breaking, but we're biased. So it was fun. Good times, pre-internet, original. I'm also a member of California Crew, which came around the 2000s, around that era. And I also have my own dance studio, like Honey, Six Step Academy, and I built that here in Atlanta. I moved here about 3 years ago, and I've had that school for going on 2 years now, and steady building that. And yeah, keep it short and basic. That is me in a nutshell.
And we got to actually tour together.
Oh yeah,
in the 90s.
Yes.
So
we did too much together. Don't bother them.
Okay. That's another time.
So thanks for taking the class again. I guess for me, I've been breaking for 28 years. I got down with Renegades in 2000. I'm a co-founder of the Squadron in 2007. I helped co-create the Roto BC1 All-Stars in 2009 and 10. I do this for a living. I've been able to push my dance for 28 plus years and push myself to today's generation competitive breaking as well. I do everything basically. I help throw events, I shoot videos, I help come up with content ideas. I base my dance around the front side of the competitive side, but then also I'm in the back end trying to help people out with different things. So I try to do a bit of everything, be involved in different ways with the community, try to give people up and coming talent also chances. That's part of my job as a consultant as well. So I kind of do everything in breaking, and yeah, it's been a complete honor, and it's crazy that I'm still around. I mean, I grew up watching this guy too. A lot of history there, and his crew, very influential. I mean, I've seen Henry Rockwell in the 90s as well. So for me, I guess I would say I'm one of the younger guys from them, but I feel like I'm more closer to his era. I'm closer to his era because I felt like we got to share the Cypher together, and we got to battle together. So that's my generation, and
compete with each other.
And with each other together. We've done it all. But yeah, that's it. Kind of what I do. It's the sort of jack of all trades in breaking. Still involved, still love it, and I'm still learning.
And can I just say something? What he's saying, like, he really letting you know what he does to survive in this game, right? And we do the same thing. Like, that's why we're able to sustain this longevity in breaking, right? Because it's tough. If you only attack one angle, good luck.
Look, he already getting into the questions. We haven't even. This is why you're on the panel.
I want them to understand that you gotta attack angles, right?
Yes. So, once again, don't be afraid to take out your phone and take notes, because some of this really could be bigger than just dance. It can be life lessons, the things that help you in your adulthood. Some of us find things in life that sometimes we get stuck and we need information. We may not have mentors. So for those of you that don't have mentors, take advantage of them. They're here in your state. We're gonna start this timer because I'm efficient. We maximize our minute and we honor our hour. I'm gonna rock this out in 30 minutes because I'm just that ill, and so are you. So we may do it faster so we can get some questions in. So what we're gonna do here first. Now we had questions in here. Some of them were pre-written, some of them I put my sazon on, and I really want you to only answer what you feel comfortable answering. Don't feel obligated, but feel inspired to. All right. So the first question that we have here is, where did you find the drive to become great in your dance? Two-part question because this normally leads into something else, right? So where did you find the drive to become great in your dance, and what is it that fuels you?
Who do you want to go first?
Matter of fact, let's just run into the third part of it. why and what can the young people from this generation learn from this? That's the main
What's
part.
the second one?
The second one is what is it that fuels you? And the last part is what can the young people learn from this? Anybody can answer that.
I mean, I can go. I'm trying to. Okay. So basically, for me, I come from Mexico, right? I'm an immigrant. I grew up in poverty, and not having a lot of education around me at first, and then not having people that were doing other things in life besides street stuff and breaking. This is all I saw, right? So we all kind of are products of our environment, so we tend to follow what we know and what we see. For me, I never met somebody that had a super high career and job that paid a lot of money, so breaking for me was my complete passion. I worked a regular job for many years till I was 26. I was delivering pizzas, going to battle on the weekends, but I just loved the competition aspect of breaking. I just liked the battle aspect of the dance. And it made me feel like I was somebody in this life because, you know, coming from nothing and feeling isolated in a world where I'm not Mexican enough for the Mexicans and I'm not American enough for the Americans, then I'm in this like adopted culture that welcomed me with open arms. So just the idea of being dope in hip hop and being fresh in hip hop is like that drives me, and as well as just the passion that I have for it. So with that, I think that's what helped me carry on for so long because I didn't necessarily have something that I was thriving for, and I just completely attacked it with the passion. I was all about it. I just wanted to keep leveling up. Battling this guy was like, oh man, he smoked me, now I gotta level up to try and get up to his level, you know, and it, just like those things are what pushed me. It's a competitive spirit. For sure. It's a competitive spirit of the dance as well, right? And also as a person that I am, I like the challenge of being like, how could I get up to that level? And it's just the drive, but I think that fueled me to be able to pursue this to this level. And I think having that struggle and not having other options in many ways, which is not the right way to say, right? Because I don't want people to jump off track for their careers to do something that they might not be fully passionate about. Understand that this was my way, and I never thought that I would make it this far into breaking. I never thought that I was going to be sponsored. Yeah, I envisioned it one day that it could maybe happen, seeing like the tribal team and stuff like that, but I didn't have a guarantee that that would ever happen. So I strictly just went off the strength of just loving this. And things started falling into place. I started connecting with the right place, right person. And through that fire of competitive breaking, it pushed me to the forefront of the big titles, and it got me out there, and eventually it led to where I am now, and I think that's what keeps me driving. And just being a student of the craft, always learning.
Amazing. Down now, you want to get to the next one? We got a few.
Right.
It's up to you.
Good.
Yeah. Well, for me it was a little different because I grew up and this was our generational culture already. I grew up and it was already there. It was our style, our fashion, our music. It's not like, you know, it wasn't something that like we aspired to want to be. It was kind of like we already grew up in it. And, you know, I guess it was like our way of having outlets. You know, I was, my Titi Haiti was Auntie Haiti was the one that took me to all her Christ the King parties and the socials. So, you know, she was rocking the Adidas and the Pumas and the style, and we would go to the parties and everyone was breaking. Everybody was breaking, you know, it was popping or breaking, like everybody in school and the classes, and it was all around us. I'm an 80s kid, and even she took me out in the 70s. I was like 6, 7 years old, just around her. And you know, as I got older, I was a gymnast, and then after gymnastics, I started going out to the clubs, and that's when I got exposed to a different life of the whole, like, and in the 1990s, that's when I started like hip hop house and just dancing, and you know, it wasn't really for anything, it wasn't really for money, like no way did I ever think that I would be able to get paid to dance. So I started getting these parties and started working and doing these. I got chosen at a club. They were like, this is when like Fly Girls and stuff was out. They were like, I want you to be in this all girl group, and it was called Lollipop Lunch. And I was like, I had no idea, you know, I had no idea what and it was cool. It was kind of like a spin-off off of Fly Girls, and we would go to all these clubs, and like We had our combat boots and our outfits, and we graffitied out our combat boots. And true story, our choreographers was, do you guys remember Darren from, Darren, he was like in all the movies, Soul Food, and he was my choreographer. Bruce was my choreographer. And we were just, we were doing all these shows in New Jersey and started dancing and did another movie. It just started happening because we were out, and one thing led to another. Then then they were like, come on, you got to come to this place where these guys are practicing. And I went, and breaking in 1990 did not exist anymore. You did not see it in the clubs, you could see it anywhere. It was old school, it was done. And when I went to this practice spot, that's when I met, all of Get Original, rhythm technicians and Magnificent Force. Rocksteady was all in one room, just like this, and they were practicing, and I was like, wow. Girls were in there, like Dina, Wandy, Brandy, all Wiggle sisters. They were all in there, and they were all like just practicing in front of the mirror. And I'm like, what are they practicing for? Nothing. There was no shows. There was nothing else happening. People were just practicing to practice.
Sure.
So just being at the right place at the right time, I was able to be offered an opportunity, because that's when they picked us up. Hey, we're going to do an off-Broadway show. We need you to battle. They put me through, I had to pay some dues to battle. I didn't get picked in the beginning, my colleagues are the ones, other females got in there and they were picked to be in it. So I had to work really, really hard with choreography to even be a part of that. So it just kind of happened. It wasn't like something that I really even thought about wanting to do in my future. I just kind of fell into it. And then since 1994, I've never stopped. This has been my life. This has been my life. And this is all I've ever done. So I'm 51 years young. 51 years young.
Let's go.
And I think when pandemic hit, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with my school? No one's going to come anymore. Do I shut down? What do I do? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to own it. That's it. Right. So at 50, I was like 50 years old back then, I decided to own it and just be like, this is my life. I'm going to go all out till the day I die. And this is what I'm like, rest in peace, Kid Dynamo. But this is what I choose to do. And I've got a supporting husband, B-Boy Orko. Thank you.
Thank you. Yo, so thank you. Crumbs, I know you got wisdom on that, but since you were speaking about generations, we're gonna move on to the next question.
Yep.
The next question is simply about this. You talked about being a 90s B-boy, so the next question for all of you, but mainly starting with Crumbs, is why is knowing eras of breaking and hip-hop history so important to your breaking skills and your breaking career?
Oh, well, that's a great question, first of all. That's a long answer. I'm going to condense it, right? So whatever era so when I was coming up, like I said, pre-internet eras, we really went out and searched for information. We didn't have the computer to look it up. We had to fly ourselves to New York. We had to find people that were breakers. We really were in the trenches, right? Thirsty and hungry for information, and flying ourselves to battles, competing, doing whatever we got to do to get our name known. This is how we did it. And it seems like maybe the newer generations, even though they have all this access at their fingertips, they don't take advantage of it. And by doing that, you're limiting yourself, because if you don't know what came before, how can you understand what's truly going on right now, right? So there's so much detailed info on the floor that you're missing out on if you only pay attention to the battle that happened yesterday. Okay? And so for instance, the 80s style, even back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s now, right? There's so many new elements in each decade that you can pick up on and learn from and adapt to your personal style to just make you that much more intelligent as a breaker, right? Following trends isn't always the best bet, but a good majority of the breakers usually do that in every era. This is common, right? So instead of following trends, go back and look through the other eras of the styles and the moves and the flows, transitions that are not being utilized in these trends that are happening now, and you will stick out more than the people that are just breaking the trends that are going on right now. And trends fade, right? They come and go. So if that's all you're doing, you're gonna come and go too, unless you reinvent yourself, right? So it's very important to know, do your history, or learn your history, know all those who came before you, try to even understand who created certain moves, certain styles, like who were the first b-boys to introduce those into breaking. Like all of that matters, right? I think everything is happening so fast with so many events and so many breakers all around the world. Like every day we look online and there's a new kid that's just killing it, right?
Yeah.
It's like nonstop. So a lot of it can be like fast food, right? So we got to get a little bit more back to the organicness of breaking and just find a balance, right? If anything I leave you with, just find a balance, right? It's cool to look at everything that's going on, but also do your homework and study the past, and it's only going to make you that much better.
Word? Nice. Okay, so I know you're going to speak on that, but this next question I want all three of you to answer, if you don't mind. And definitely, if you still want to double back, if we make time on any of these questions, please do. But taking notes. That's the ninja scrolls. You better get with them. You better get with them. Got the ninja scrolls, bro. Samurai search for the building. All right, so, and that's funny, your name isn't. All right. So the next question right here, all three of you can answer it. You know, be brief, brother, be brief, sister, if possible. What is the best advice that you have received as a young dancer from one of your mentors? How many of you do have mentors? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was early on in 97, 98. I had done my first official competition. And before that, I had only battled people at parties and Cyphers, community events. It was never a competitive format. So they brought the first competition to where I grew up, and it was just local. And I was just moving from move to move to move and doing what Crumbs said, almost the trendy stuff, right? You're trying to just do your burn and the burn. But I wasn't really dancing, I wasn't throwing in my footwork, but I could do all of that already at that time, at that level that I was at for that time, right? So I entered the contest, I was a hometown favorite, we lose in the first round, and then afterwards I go in the Cyphers, and then we battled the rival crew in this little Cypher. And I started doing everything that I would normally do in my style. And my mentor's mentor was watching the whole time, just in the back. And he's an old school head from the 80s. He had been breaking since the 80s. His name's Shaw One. And as he saw me Cypher and he saw me battling, he comes up to me and he's like, "Why didn't you do any of that in the battle?" And I was like, damn. Because I was trying to feed the system, right? I was trying to break like the style of competition that was in. So with that information, that's what gave me the idea of like, that's what I do need. I need to bring this way of my breaking onto the competitive forefront. And once I did that, it completely changed everything for me. So I just started dominating on that side as well. Because in the Cyphers, I felt that I could do it, but locally, that's when I started dominating my own scene up in Northern California. I started building. So I would battle everybody in the Cyphers, but then I could beat them in the contest too now. And that was because of that information. And it was just be you. And sometimes we forget that, right? Do what makes you special.
All right.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Focus is what was told to me one day. Wasn't really my mentor, but he was a badass in business. And he was like, "What are you doing, honey, Rockwell?" I was like, "Oh, I got this music video I gotta do. I gotta practice later on today. We're gonna go on tour this weekend. Honey, Rockwell, focus." And I was like, okay. You know, and then I realized that, you know, it's hard to be doing and juggling like a million things, you know, like it's hard to be good at everything, you know, and give everything 20%, you know, so I had to, once I realized I could focus on something, I had a choice when I first moved here to either open up an entertainment company and do parties, because that's what I did also for money. As a single mom, I was working and doing all these, you know, these gigs to help make more money, and those types of jobs pay a lot more money, and or open up a school. And you know, Orca used to tell me, he's like, what do you envision it? Do you visualize it? Do you smell it? Can you touch it? Can you taste it? Can you feel it? And I did. I really could visualize more a school than I could an entertainment company. And I decided to really, really focus and give it my 1,000% and do the school. I chose the school. And I feel like, yeah, the money's probably not there in dance studios, but the love, the richness that I get from these kids and passing on this to the next generation, is amazing. To see these kids booking gigs right now, to see these kids dancing, you know, now for the Hawks, the Braves Breakers, the Falcons now. Concord just got down with the Falcons, breaking team, and I see them. I so enjoy putting opportunities in people and money in people's pockets. You know, so it's really, really been awesome. So focusing really has been since my ex-boss told me that, like, focus, honey, Rockwell. And that's what we do. Focus.
Yeah, focus. So for me, it's not one mentor in particular. It's actually my whole crew, Style Elements, the originals. We all, you know, had the same mentality, preached the same mentality. And one of our mottos was, it was something like, if you're trying to fit in, how are you ever gonna stand out?
Sure.
Right? So that one really sticks even till this day, because I still have that mentality. Like, it's never gone away, right? We stay true to that path, even though that path has led to so many different things, right? We keep that blueprint, which keeps it authentic. And you know, it can be rough in the beginning when you're trying new things and you're getting dissed and, you know, oh, that's whack, or that ain't b-boying, that ain't breaking. That's what we were told, right? Believe it or not, you know, because now a lot of the moves, styles, flows are common that we were innovating at that time. But in the beginning stages, you know, we would get this by, you know, certain breakers. Some understood, they could see them, like, oh, I see something there, okay. But you know, but we never listened to that noise, right? We just kept elevating, kept true to what we were doing, and got better and better. And the stuff that they told us wasn't breaking ended up becoming like future foundation in breaking. So, you know, that's what can happen if you believe in yourself and stay true to your path. So that's the motto.
Right. Once again, guys, Crumbs is in Atlanta.
Yep.
Honey is north of Atlanta. All of you all live in different areas. Find out which one of them are closer. Join the academies. Get a mentor. Make it happen. Get a mentor in everything you do. It's okay to have multiple mentors, you know? Get as many as you can, because you think you're doing something new. That's just being young, you know what I mean? Make sure you get a mentor. These are great answers. I hope you're memorizing them, remembering them. If you are recording any of them, hashtag RebelBC1, hashtag RebelBC1 Atlanta. You guys, I'm just glad this room has as many people as it does. Big growth for Atlanta. Big ups to all of you. All right, so this question is a fun question. I'm gonna sit down for the answer because it might take a little bit. We don't have that long, but it might take. So, what mistakes did you make in your breaking career? Any mistakes. It can be business, dance, health, whatever, relationship. What mistake did you make in your breaking career that impacted you in any type of way, and how can you give information or advice to them to not make those same mistakes, whether they're common mistakes or they're one in the world mistakes? I'm gonna sit down on it. Did you got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I mentioned one earlier in the class about when I first got in Renegades. I had kind of built up a name for myself a little bit because I battled this guy, and then we ended up in the final battle, and then they flew both of us to Miami. And from that point, Renegades saw what I was doing, and then they recruited me, and they started to give me guidance and then give me information, but I ended up utilizing the information in the wrong way, and at that point in my breaking, I felt stuck where I couldn't even practice because I was trying to break more to the approach that they were telling me, but I wasn't incorporating the knowledge. I was trying, like I said, I was trying to be it, and it didn't feel right. So my style at that point, I'm never pleased when I watch footage from that era because I never felt like I was truly breaking the way I knew I could. And it took me almost till we did style elements when I battled with you guys at freestyle session. That's when I started breaking out of that. It took 2 years. For 2 years, I was in a rut, just doing whack stuff that I didn't like. And that was a big lesson because then I went back to what made me what made me who I was. I ended up watching footage with my first mentor, and he had footage of us practicing in his backyard, and it just looked so raw. And that re-inspired me to go back to being me, and that's what got me to where I got. And it's time to go back and bring that into my style. And that really helped me get back into breaking. And since then, it's been the same mindset, and I haven't let myself gear off too far off. And on the business side, I always say this one is just more about think ahead and try to plan your goals. Try to set your goals, and even if they're small, try to achieve them one at a time. Sometimes jumping the gun can be good, and sometimes it can be bad. For me, in 2006, I had just come off the UK Championships title, and the DVD was all over the place. People were inviting me all over the place, and I went to LA, and Flo and them took me to an audition with Chris Brown, and then Wicked was like, "Oh, you need to come out here." So I was listening to all my crew members, and he invited me to do a tour with him for a gospel tour. So for me, I wanted to just practice. At the time, I was still delivering pizzas. This guy's like, "Yo, come down, like we need you next week in LA, and you start rehearsal with us." And I was like, "Oh," I had to make up my mind in a week, and I quit my job. I went back up north. I quit my job that Sunday. I drove to LA on Monday, and I get there, and the lady was like, "Who's this guy?" The lady that was paying everybody. So it was a big lesson for me because it reset me and set me back. It brought me back down because it was, one, the tour never happened. The lady never paid us for rehearsals. And this is the type of bad taste that the industry has left in a lot of people. So for me, it was a lesson learned, but that was my fault because I should have been smarter. The way I was moving already at that time, I already knew better. But because I was in pursuit of just practice and the passion of wanting to get better at dancing and be able to live off dancing, I made the wrong turn. But even then, it was the right turn because it gave me more focus, more determination, and a better vision on how to approach the next steps in my career. Mm-hmm. So I went back, reset. I went back to my mom's house, my parents' house. I was living back with them for a year. But from there on, it was a complete different focus. And then that geared me into helping create Squadron. That geared me into helping create the Red Bull team. So for me, it was just a reset. At the time, it sucked because I even tore my tricep. So you see this ball right there?
Oh, yeah.
It's detached. And so imagine I lose the job, I quit my job, I can't get the job back. The tour doesn't happen.
You got one tricep.
One tricep missing. I got so I'm the defending champ for UK champs, and then I get invited to BC1 that year. And because I had to go, I said yeah. I was like, yo, I was getting fat at my mom's house, eating all this good food. So if you watch the 2006 footage, I'm wearing this big ass arm brace at the BC1. So all these chances that were coming up, I basically just, everything was collapsing right in front of me. But I had to restructure myself and refocus on the things that I needed to get done. And I just didn't give up hope, even though at those moments everything felt like it was the end. Eventually, I started restructuring everything and focusing back. But that was a huge lesson. So have purpose, set your goals, even if they're small, and stick to them. When something sounds too good to be true, sometimes it is. It's funny that people say that, but don't always just chase the easy way. It's better to just earn your way up and climb.
Nice. Guys, we got 5 minutes. We will go over, if that's okay. Yeah, but we have let's still work in the parameters of making sure that everybody's butt doesn't get numb, including yours. But that was great. Did you get that though?
Yeah.
Did you receive that? Because the wisdom is the gospel. Okay. Moving forward. Same question.
Okay, so basically, to piggyback off what Roxrite is saying is, you know, there's peaks and valleys in everything, right? It's a journey. You're gonna have the lowest of lows and the highest of highs, right? But it's how we learn from our mistakes to not make the same ones over and over. That's the main key right there. There's so many examples I could give you for myself. You know, I've been doing this for 30 years, like nonstop, and I've attacked both the underground and the industry simultaneously throughout my whole career. That's battling all over the world and at the same time working in Hollywood, right? And I started working in Hollywood like at 16 years old, 16, 17, so very young, and I didn't know anything about business, and it was just me and my partner Ramon that lived together, and he didn't know nothing about business, and we were just doing work, you know, working for these like huge artists like Christina Aguilera and, you know, all these artists that were just coming out, like pop stars, and you know, we're wasting our money on just rent, like it's LA, you know what I mean? We didn't know anything about how to buy a house or mortgage or any of this stuff, and nobody explained it to us. So having your business right is important. Like at that time, all we cared about was trying to be the best in the world, right? And of course, that's important if that's the route you want to take, but you also like have to learn your business and get that right. And one of the main things is creating your own brand, your own entity, right? Not relying on an industry, not relying on a battle, not relying on a promotion or a promoter, right? Rely on you and your ideas. And that can be hard to get out of the brain and manifest, right? But through a lot of detail and thought and knowledge from other business people you may know, right? To talk to them and see how, you know, hear their stories and how they built what they built, and take creative notes and implement what you feel could help you build your brand better, right? And at the end of the day, you could build your own because nobody can take that from you, right? In an industry, just like he said, his story, I got 100 of those, 1,000 of those, right? Where you think something's happening and then no, or you have something and then it's taken away all the time because you're just another body, right? People come in all the time. There's people that are willing to do work for cheaper, so it is what it is. That's life. In battles on the underground side, there's always other people coming in that are you know, maybe it's their time. You know what I mean? And so it's not going to be your time. So what do you have left? If this isn't working, that ain't working, and you haven't built anything for yourself, then it's going to be a low, right? So build your brand or whatever it is, your creative ideas, and put that first. Everything else is secondary.
Nice. Real quick before we go to Honey, that was really good. These are both really good. When I first started doing business, there was a thing called MrWiggle.biz. He had his little, when he first launched his site, I used that as a blueprint. And then I loaded one term, marketing director, and I would find a marketing director for every concert coming to Atlanta. And every MC I loved, I performed for. Everyone. Beastie Boys, Rakim, Slick Rick, Wu-Tang, everybody. Marketing director. Who's the marketing director? I was just following I followed it. And then actually, 2 years after I saw you on a freestyle session tape, I was only breaking like 3 years, I ended up meeting you. No, this was after. I saw you in Summit. Then I saw you again. We did a Black Eyed Peas video together.
Here?
But, yeah, here in Atlanta. And it was, what's his name from Jurassic 5 that told me about the video. But based on that, if it wasn't for Jurassic 5, Akil. Akil's the one that put me on. And so if Akil didn't call me and I didn't have Mr. Wiggles.biz vocabulary to follow that blueprint, I wouldn't have been on set with him. You know what I mean? So my first time meeting him was due to just a little bit of information. So what they're giving you right now, you can take a long way. And that helped me launch. I did dozens of videos after that. That helped me launch a whole career just with a little bit of information somebody was giving. So take notes. Don't be afraid, don't be embarrassed. Take notes. You can't memorize everything. You're gonna be excited by the time you Cypher, you're gonna forget some of this. Honey.
Smarter choices when I was in my 20s. Like I was in my 20s, so you know, it was a lot of fun, but I wish I could have made better choices in different things in my life. But for the most part, like the dance still kept me grounded, and touring with these guys, it was difficult. It was difficult being one of the, you know, females in a male-dominated, you know, crew. So I had to hang with them. I had to deal with their you know, with their boyness, and you know, that part was hard. But you know, I felt like I stuck out. It didn't kill me, made me stronger, right? I feel like I wouldn't be able to have what I have now if I didn't go through all that back then. But for the most part, you know, like what I wish I could have done back then is when we were touring, you know, with Orko and Crumbs, you know, some things that weren't taught were what happens after. You know, we didn't have what you have now. We didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet. That did not exist. We had to be creative and really dream and think about and imagine what could we do now. You know, I remember coming up the tours and we'd be at the airport. We're so close, and all my big brothers, and we're all like, you know, hanging out, and we're touring, and we're eating together, we're in the hotels, we're touring together, we're battling together. The minute we get to the airport, everybody leaves, and I'm like, where did everybody go? And I'd be all alone, you know, and everybody would go to their different lives, but there was no like unity to helping each other. Like, what are we gonna do after this show? Where's our next point? And you know, it just came to me because it's something that I've been doing since I was 7 years old, of being in, you know, a gymnast and then dancing and then going into this. So I had to kind of like, well, what else can I do? But I wish I could have studied lighting design, you know, something that could make me make a living for myself, you know, because it was hard to make money in my time, and you know, you had to be lucky. You know, I was a girl that got a lot of opportunities because I was a female, I think, and not a lot of girls could do what I could do back then.
That's why.
I guess so. I guess so.
I thought it was because you was from the Bronx.
Second part.
But yeah, I wish I would have learned. I wish somebody would have pushed me more to learn different things that would help me, whether it's in the theater world or being a business owner, taking a business course of like money management or graphic design, because I never knew when I opened up the dance studio with no skills. I just wanted to open it up so me and Orko could train and hey, bring a couple of kids from the neighborhood. I had no idea that, you know, we were gonna have a pretty successful academy with kids wanting to be there and, you know, and signing up and registration forms and this and that. But I had to learn graphic design. I had to learn editing and video, music. I had to have Orko learn how to do it too. Real quick, Orko, edit this for me real quick, please. You know, it's a lot of work, and I wish so. You guys look like you're young, in your 20s, 30s. Learn as much as whatever you want to do in your life with whatever it is. Definitely try to, you know, study more so you can get your certifications and you can, you know, get paid for something that you love to do also. You know, economy wasn't as bad as it is now. For us, my apartment in 1994, 95, I had my own place. It was $400 in the Bronx for a one-bedroom apartment on 183rd and University. university. College wasn't a thing, you know, I had a kid, so it wasn't a thing. We just, you know, we were able to make it happen, but then it got harder and harder, and now I have kids that are your guys' age, and they still live with us. Orko thought that they would be gone by now. They're not gone, and now I see how the struggle is for them in today's economy. So just, you know, do whatever you need to do in school, study what you need to study, get those certs, so you can get paid the money you need to get paid, so you could do the things that you want to do. That's my thing.
Nice. Just for something saying, letting you know what $1,200 was in the year 2000 is now worth about $2,200. It would have been $2,200. So that's how much inflation, money has changed, everything has changed. So $1,200 now would have been $2,200 then.
Just think,
Yeah, but yeah, the world we live in, he's going up, and we still getting gigs for the same prices we were 20 years ago.
We were, the guys had, so I was down with Rocksteady and 7 Grandmasters, and when we would go on tour, these guys would sell these videos. And I'm like, what do you guys, you know, you guys got videos, you know, you're bumping? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, I want to do a video. So I made a video, a Honey Rockwell B-Girl video, and and it was B-Girls around the world. I would record B-Girls around the world, and then we made tapes.
First one.
And we would put, they were we did it with, it was me and Wiggles, and we did it with two VCRs and a boombox. And that graphics that you see, I don't know if you guys ever seen the video, maybe Tim, I don't know if you've seen it, but it says Honey, there's a big sign that says Honey Rockwell. Wiggles tagged it and put it in the window, and we waited for the train to go through. So it says, "This is a man's world. There'll be nothing without a woman or a girl." And that's how the video starts. And that's how we did graphics back in the day, like with an actual, and we cut it out like a stencil, where we put it against the window. Like none of this didn't exist, but now it does, and it's so cool that the evolution of the videographer and the photographer and graphics, like I'm seeing an entire evolution of, I feel like a time capsule.
Dinosaur.
I'm a dinosaur.
No.
I'm a
We're all
in
the best way possible.
But he's more of a viejo.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs aren't here, you are. Dinosaurs aren't here anymore, you're still here.
Okay. Either way, you're timeless and everybody's still researching.
Of course.
So we are at 36 minutes. So we didn't do bad, but I have 2 questions. They're bonus questions. One person could take the first question. If you feel like you want to answer the next question, more than one person, but we only need one person to answer this question, or maybe it's up to you. Last question I want you to all to answer. All right, guys, so this is what y'all want to know. How the hell are you still dancing? What are you doing to push your skills this far? What are you doing to push your skills to the next level? How do you keep creating new levels when you was a 90s b-boy and most of them was born not in the 90s? And then what are you doing? Because remember, mindset develops will set, and will set develops skill set. So what are you doing? What are you doing in the mind? Where your mind's at? What mental health, what mental conditioning are you developing to be where you are and where you've been?
I'm Cardi B. I don't dance now, I make money move.
Okay.
I actually don't.
Okay. Go ahead.
I guess I'll start off. I guess for me, the first thing is being honest with yourself, right? I'm not in my teens, I'm not in my 20s, I'm not in my 30s, I'm in my 40s, right? That's the first thing. So, doing a lot of some of those blow-ups that I used to do in my teens, it's not like I can't do it anymore, but at what cost, right? Injuries, all that stuff. And for if you notice, like say head spins, right? You can have really dope head spins. Don't do them for 2 months and then try them again, and let's see how those head spins look, right?
Well,
Unless you're Rockwell.
Unless you're Rockwell, right? But there's always exceptions to the rule. But usually with moves, you have to practice them to keep them, right? You don't use it, you lose it, and that's how it is. So for me, what I do is I'll pick certain moves or styles, flows, whatever I want to work on. I keep all my artillery and hard drives from all my career. And you know, I'll say, oh, I want to bring that back. I'll start training that. I'll put stuff in a folder, you know, and just a bunch of material, and I'll start working on just that folder, right? Just that, and I'll implement that at the next jams or wherever I go, and then I'll go through the hard drives again, see what I can do. Some things it's like, that's not worth it. Let me keep that in the folder. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll get back to that. The body tells me what's okay at this time, right? If my shoulders ain't feeling right, then certain moves, you know, aren't gonna work. Or you gotta work with your body is what I'm saying, right? So that's how I personally keep going, and it's honesty, knowing your body, and there's no shortcut from hard work. You always got to put the time in. You always got to train. And it even gets harder as you get older, because when you're older, you have to do the more tedious things to prevent injuries that you didn't have to when you were in your 20s and 30s, right? And that is the, you know, like TRX band work and swimming and running and all the boring stuff, right? All the boring stuff. But that is yoga, ice baths, right? Who knew about ice baths in the 90s, right? Like, was that even a thing? Right? So just taking care of your body, like, you know, and I try to do that. I spend money on my body because my body makes me money. So spending time on yourself and, you know, being honest with yourself. That's how I stuck around.
And archives.
Archives, yeah.
AKA Ninja Scrolls. He archived his stuff so he can double back and check on his progress.
You see him when he's at practice. He's got his whole hard drive. It just moves from like the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep looking at him, and then he'll run it. It's amazing.
You want it?
Yeah, sure. For me, I mean, one is that I never felt like I achieved what I wanted in my style. So I'm always picking apart what I lack. So I'm always seeing things I lack, and I try to work on my weaknesses. So that way I continue to challenge myself to level up, because the moves that I got down that I can do, I already know I can do them. So I got those already in the back pocket. The trick is, can I find the ways to do them? So it's the challenge of the dance constantly evolving and my style constantly evolving. So if I'm weak at tops, like I said in my class, that means I'm going to work on my tops. So then I start getting more comfortable in that. So that's a weakness that I work on. Transitions was a weakness, I worked on that. Power was a weakness, I worked on that. Creating moments is something that is taking the moment. Like for me, doing something I've never done before in a battle is what gives me the high to pursue this more, because being spontaneous and breaking is what this dance is built on, right? When breaking was first created, everything was new. So if you can create moments, can you do that? Are you able to do that? That's my high. That's what I pursue when I battle as well, to still compete today. If I'm able to do something I've never done before and create it on the spot, that to me is the ultimate reward. It doesn't matter if I won the battle or not, I just know that I did something that I have never done personally for myself in the heat of the moment. Because yeah, I can run a premeditated set, I can run all the concepts that I got, but that one day that I hit that one move, that will live forever for me. Because I know that it was something special, right? And just that is a challenge in itself. How often can I do that? I've done it a few times. I did it last time that happened, I can't remember. Against Gravity and the Solomon's anniversary. Like I've never done that move. I just did it in the spot. I haven't done it since.
Wow. But it's archived.
He caught it on video.
You guys.
A lot of that happens at practice, and you never see it again.
And that also, I do that as well. I've been able to document throughout the years since the 90s footage. I've always just had pieces of footage throughout the years that I go back to. And sometimes, I go back and study some of what I've done. And I just pick different eras and I'm like, okay, that time I did that. But it's all, for me, I can't write stuff down. Everything's based off memory and how well I'm training right now. The other side of it is just the competitive side of breaking. Every time there's a new young cat, damn, he's bringing something new to the game. Can I mess with him? Can I keep up with him? Damn, I don't know. You know, it's like when KRS-One used to say, for every commercial rapper that's in the top 10, he has a bar that started a career. It's like that's the mindset of the battle spirit. So I want to battle still. I still want to be there. I still want to challenge myself. The question is like, can I still do it? So then I continue to push myself to that level. And I take inspiration from all different things. One thing is boxing that definitely inspires me, in the way that boxers keep their body in shape and keep their mind focused to level up to the next level or to the next fight. So I approach battles in ways like they're fights for me. So I prepare myself for those battles to give myself a shot and be 100% ready, mentally, physically, and ready to deliver the best me that I could. And I think the biggest thing that I don't talk about in terms of what's kept me pushing till now and still be able to do what I do is being aware of my weight. But I can't give dieting things for you guys because everybody's diets are different. But for me, when losing weight and keeping a certain weight has always kept me to be able to do all the moves that I've been trying to do throughout the years. It's like keeping aware of my weight. Being aware of my weight is one of the key pieces. Outside of the mentality of like, yo, I want to be dope, I want to smoke this, I want to kill this, I want to do that. You got to have that. If you don't have that, you're not going to keep elevating, and you can do this for short term, and it's awesome for whatever you want to do. But for me, I still have that fire, and it's just who I am, I guess. And I got a few more years of it left, I think, and then I'm done. I'm 41 now. I'm 41.
Hold up. You see that? That's what my Red Bull contract really said. It said 45 minutes. It said 45 minutes. I said 30 because I knew we was going to go over. So my contract said 45 minutes. We did it. But we do have a bonus question, so I'm going to stop this. I'm not going to stop it, man. The bonus question is really important. But before that, can I ask you who's your boxing spirit animal?
Ooh. Julio Chavez.
Oh, come on, let's go. So, if you wasn't watching boxing back in the day, you can go back and look at that. You know,
He was like 90 something and
that dude, and people don't talk about it.
He had over 100 fights. He had over 100. That's crazy.
All right, so here's the last question, and the last question is really important. You know, so this goes similar to what you were saying, but how he had boxing. There was also, you have influences. That was part of a question that I kind of cut a little short. There's influences, outside influences that influence your dance, right? They can talk to you about that after this thing, you know, after the Cypher if they choose. There's other things than dance that influence them. There's other things that dance that influence them. There's other than breaking. When they were doing it, there was nobody that influenced them. Nobody. So they had to look at cartoons, martial art movies, anything and everything. They had to dig within, and when you have nothing, you look for everything. You see what I'm saying? So expand the imagination. Do not get caught up trying to be someone else, because you can't. And once you get there, you realize that you're a copycat. So you're not going to get the same fruit off of GMO breaking style. You know what I mean? So moving forward, last question. Don't feel pressure to be fast, but don't be long. I love you. All right.
Hurry up. Take your time. No, take your time.
Hurry up.
Take your time. Hurry up.
All right. And then, so here we go. If you could represent an idea that adds value to the world, and you can ask yourself the same question and answer it later tonight. If you could represent an idea that can impact the world for positive change, right? What would that representation look like in you through hip hop? And are you currently using that? Are you currently doing that? What would that idea? So if Honey Rockwell could represent an idea of what the better world could look like, what does that look like, and are you doing it?
That's a deep push.
Yes.
Thank you.
Peace, unity, love, and having fun.
Yeah. You know.
Peace, unity, love, and just creating a better environment for these kids so we can have a better future. Because I believe the kids are the future.
Yeah, I mean, I would use
Teach them well, and let them lead the way.
What I would say with what we do, I would want to find a way to challenge the future generation on how to rebrand breaking to the world, because we continue to struggle with the way that breaking is seen throughout generations. We're still at that, like, oh, you guys still break on cardboard? How many times have you guys heard that?
Oh,
You get the cardboard, you get the
do a
cardboard.
headspin?
Yeah, I paid $200 to get the cardboard.
Exactly. So I want the next generation to learn how to write books, how to market this whole thing better, because I've been to 72 countries and I've seen the impact that this has on the world. And we're not aware of it. And the birth country that created this is even less aware of it. The fact that breaking's debuting in Paris to me is wild. Think about that. The first people to win a gold medal, what was he? Russian. That's crazy. In the 80s, would you have thought that a Russian guy was going to win a gold medal for breaking? It's an American dance. And the fact that we're not even aware of what this is, and that we can't even rebrand that here in our own country is crazy.
I tell you, I
So I think,
we got our own
of course,
backyard.
but I think that that's something that we have to, I feel that as a dancer and representing this whole movement for the next generation, or what I would want, I'm trying that myself, but I'm only one person in this whole puzzle, right? So it's just try to elevate this and redo this in a new light. It's a lot of work.
That's
I'm not
good.
gonna say it's easy, but I think it can be done.
It definitely can be done. I think it's being done, and documentation, collectivity, working with both brands, corporations, grassroots, everybody finding their spot at the round table, and not really trying to always seeing everybody else as an opposition. That's a Western thing that we have to sometimes fall back on, and I think it's being done.
Not to knock that the Russian, Bumblebee won. I think it's amazing. That goes to show the impact that this dance has, right? The fact that France has adopted breaking that much and taking it that serious goes to show the actual impact that it does have on society, and how it does help the kids in the ghettos of France find a way out through dance.
Right on.
We're providing cultural currency without having it be this thing that's in the background. We're putting them in the forefront.
Cultural currency. Understand that currency is energy, and bodies at work are what create the current. So if you don't work it, there's no value. You know what I mean? Like he said, he takes care of his body because his body takes care of him. You see what I'm saying? His body makes some money, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just basically, the question was like an idea to change the world for the better, right? That idea is already here, that it's an idea that changed my life, and that's obviously hip hop, right? Because I was raised in this culture, and like with what Honey said, the guidelines: peace, love, unity, and having fun, right? And I'm talking about authentic hip hop, right? Like not just the rap and what you see. Like I'm talking about breaking, writing, MCing, DJing, fashion, knowledge, all those elements, beatboxing, all together, right? Because as the time has passed, more division has came, and we've been separated, right? But it didn't used to, at least the era that I came up in, we were all together at the jams, right? And it's a little more segregated now, and a lot of that, I try to stay away from politics as much as possible, but let's be honest, politics have changed the world and kind of made it what it is today, and some people even in our culture get mentally messed up by the politics that are going on, right? And but there was nothing political about unity in hip hop, at least from the era that I came up in. So if there's an idea and ways that we can try to bring people back to that, then I think we'd all live in a much better world, and not listen to the media so much and just enjoy life and each other. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So we're gonna wrap this part up, guys. But while we're doing that, while you're here with the peace, love, unity, having fun, right? These are mantras that we live our life with. It's not one thing or the other. It's all of these things: peace, love, unity, and having fun. Hip hop is also an acronym for higher infinite power, healing our people. You know what I mean? So when you believe in yourself, you believe in something beyond yourself, whatever you may call it. Understand that you will be protected, you will be guided, and that faith and fear cannot share the same cup. Okay? They have faith that their art was going to provide. They didn't have knowledge on how to do it. They didn't have knowledge on where it was going to come from. They had faith And that's what fueled them. They move forward in their trajectory, and they don't control time. It all happened on his own time. You know what I mean? And all of you are speaking a similar gospel from 3 different places, which is amazing. Different generations, which is amazing. And you guys will continue to do the same thing with your stories. But make sure that you take all your phones right now, if they're in your pocket. Don't go get them. And make sure that you're following all 3 of them. You know what I mean? Because this comes out, and you know, we hardly have these conversations, but when Red Bull and people like this create opportunities for us to sit here together, this might not have happened, you know? Now I'm like, look, I need all 3 of you on my podcast. This is motivating me, listening to you speak on this level. I'm getting to hear wisdom that I was not, you know, aware of what I was gonna get, you know? And so I'm happy to be here. Also, remember that there's no such thing as part-time greatness. None of them are part-time. None of them are part-time. You cannot play with this and succeed with it in the way that they're doing. This is not part-time. This is sacrifice, this is investment, this is belief, this is faith, this is failure. But it's not really failure, it's falling forward, you know, because you have to get up and keep moving. You guys are awesome. I could say I love you because love is an action. You know what I mean? And taking action to be here and spend time with you. I don't have to like you, and you don't have to like me to love you. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this culture is very important. It's the fastest growing culture in the world. Set the United Nations back in 2001, and we had just begun. You know what I mean? So I want you guys to stand up. If you have any issues with your ears, close your ears and give the loudest round of applause. And then I'm gonna ask you guys to curve around here, and then everybody else to curve around us, and let's take a family picture with this here so we can let people know that this is just the beginning for Atlanta, because Atlanta's been lit for a long time. It's just now we gotta let them know. And please throw away the trash. So let's start with the clapping. Also, big up to Timbo for taking over the camera. All the staff that made this possible, y'all come on over here too, please. Just so you know, especially, this is the team that is making Red Bull BC1 happen in Atlanta. This is the team that adopted me for a weekend, for a month. Understand, when we talk about breaking, you hear us on so me and Taekwondo always breaking ecosystem. It's the ecosystem. It's the ecosystem. At the end of the day, dancers, breakers, we perform, we battle, and we teach. All of those stages are owned by somebody else. But when you're young like this and you take charge and you have a business and you have partnerships and you hire other businesses and you work together collaboratively, you come to people like us in a culture that we've been in this game longer than all of them, except for you, because you've been in the game for a while. But their work and their efforts is right here, man. You know, and their business and their professionalism is another aspect of the culture. So sometimes you don't see the backbone of what makes this possible. You know, we're the heart. We bleed this, we beat this every day. But the backbone is structure, understanding, comprehension, wisdom, knowledge, business, these things. So I really want you to give them a round of applause because they don't get the camera enough. You know what I mean?